What's up guys, thanks for checking out Life of Bliss. Today we are going to be looking at an HDBaseT module from Monoprice. If you're unfamiliar with HDBaseT, what it does is allows you to transmit a signal from a video source such as a Blu-ray player or a streaming device or something like that that is set up in one area of your home, and it will send that signal over a single network cable, either Cat5e or Cat6, and send that to another TV in another area of your home. This can become extremely useful if you've got a super long run, say over 60-70 feet. That's a little bit too long for a standard HDMI cable. They can get pretty expensive when you start getting into those lengths, so this could be an alternative if you're wanting to do that. And also it can be extremely easy if you already have termination points for your home network set up at both the video source and the TV area that you're wanting to put this at. So let's go ahead and open this up, see what's inside. We'll go over everything and then start installing it. Here's our manual here. Got a power cable, a couple of mounting brackets and feet, depending on where you're going to be installing it. A couple connectors, we'll set those all off to the side. And here are our two main modules. There's a transmitter and a receiver module. One will sit at your video source and the other will sit behind the TV or next to the TV that you will be transmitting to. So this particular model from Monoprice is pin number 21668. It's the HDBaseT Slim Extender Kit. It does 4K at 100 meters. It'll do ARC, which is an audio return channel, HDCP 2.2 over Ethernet, and if you have one source getting power, it can power the other source over the Ethernet cable as well. So let's take a closer look at these. This is the transmitter. It's got two different modes here for either 100 meters or 150 meters, probably just boost the signal. It has an audio return channel on and off switch on there as well. On the back side, you've got your Ethernet in, HDBaseT out, and your HDMI in there. You've got your audio out channels for your ARC or your audio return channel, and your power source, a couple other infrared in and out, and your RS-232 connector there as well. And here is the receiver. Again, you've got your two switches there for your 100 or 150 meter mode and your audio return channel. Round on the back, you've got your HDBaseT in over your Ethernet, your HDMI out, your infrared, your power cable. Then you also have three Ethernet ports over here to power any sort of internet devices that you have on the receiving end as well. So just very quickly, I want to show you guys how this is set up on the table here before actually going and installing it in case there was any questions. This is the transmitter end. This will be sitting next to your video source. It will be getting the power from the wall and also has an HDMI input. Say if you're using the Zone 2 on your receiver, you'll do the Zone 2 out with an HDMI into the transmitter here. You'll take your network cable, plug it into the transmitter, and either run this directly to whatever TV source you're going to be running or through your network to the receiving module. It's got an input for the HDBaseT over the network and an HDMI output that will be going to your TV. So anything playing on the source side will be going through the transmitter, over your network cable, to the receiver, and then out again through an HDMI to your TV. So really this is a very simple module to install and to get working. I've actually been using another one of these upstairs in my living room to relocate my receiver, and it's worked flawlessly for the past 2 years since we've had it. So I'm excited to get this one installed. The transmitter is going to be going in the home theater rack, so I'll have all my video sources available to play and go through Zone 2 on my receiver out to my transmitter, and the receiving end is going to be going on my TCL 4K TV in my bar. Now that is a Roku Smart TV as it is, so it has quite a bit of functionality already. But with this installed, I'll be able to play any Blu-rays or DVDs or things that I'm streaming from my computer that I can already do in my home theater area and also send it to my bar. So let me go ahead and get all the fragile stuff removed, see if I can't get the TV off, and we will start installing it. Here's to everyone having a good weekend. Can't mess up the tequila guns either. With the TV removed, I attached the receiver with some Velcro straps to the wall mount bracket and added a Monoprice premium HDMI cable. I plugged a network cable into the wall mount, reinstalled the TV, and plugged the other end into the receiver. This will carry the signal from the transmitter as well as power on the receiver. So now that we got the TV in the bar set up, we'll come over to the media closet for the theater area where all my equipment is, and plug into my network down there. So let me go over real quick how I set this up. So I've got the power input on this side. Over here we have the network cable going into my home network down there. I have the HDMI in coming from my zone 2 out on my receiver into the transmitter. And then I also have some RCAs from my audio out going to an input on the receiver so I can do the audio return channel function. So the audio return channel or ARC function of this will allow me to play things off the TV and still be able to utilize my in-ceiling speakers that I put in that my receiver powers. So not only can I play things from my receiver, such as music or content coming from the receiver to this TV over these speakers, but anything that we play on the Roku or anything on this TV itself will also come over these speakers. So the last step before we fire everything up is to go back to the network box and put a cable between the 2 points on the patch panel where these both are connected. The easiest way to see which connection I needed to make was to plug in my laptop and then go to my switch panel and see which port was downloading data. Once I figured out which 2 ports were being utilized, I removed the patch cables connected to my switch, made a new patch cable, and connected those 2 ports directly at the patch panel. This created a direct connection from the transmitter to the receiver. Once everything was plugged in, the link LED was green, indicating a solid connection. So the last thing to do is see if everything works. I've got my receiver set to zone 2 for the PlayStation 4. That is only hooked up to my receiver, so hopefully this should be streaming to the bar area now. Something's wrong. Let me figure it out.
Much later.
So this has been a frustrating experience to say the least. So after that clip last night, I spent over 2 hours trying to get everything working correctly. I changed HDMI cables, I changed settings on the receiver, changed settings on the TV, used different HDMI ports on the receiver. What I finally figured out is just the handshake between all the devices was not working correctly. Whenever I connected it directly to, say, the PlayStation 4, it would pop up no problem. There's obviously no ARC with that because it wasn't going to a receiver or audio return channel. So that wasn't working right, but it did work correctly when plugged directly into a video source. So again, I went back and did some more changes to the settings on the receiver and the TV. For a while there, it was not working upon startup, and then you would unplug the HDMI, plug it back in, and everything would work fine, which obviously I didn't want to do that every time I wanted to watch something over in the bar area. And other times it would only display what the HDMI out 1 would display on the second screen. It wouldn't do a different source. Then it would only do a different source, and whenever you turned the HDMI 1 on, it would cut it off completely. So, like I said, it was a struggle last night getting everything set up, but I finally did get everything working correctly. It's showing, whatever video source I want on HDMI 1, which is my projector, and then showing whatever video source I want on my bar TV as well. It is not doing the ARC channel or the ARC audio back to the receiver, but whatever is playing in the theater area will play on the overhead speakers, since that's directly connected to the amplifier back there, and will play sound with whatever is playing on that TV. I just can't play something from the source, from this TV source, and send it back to the receiver and have any audio playing on the overhead speakers, which isn't a huge deal. I really would have liked that, because that's why I bought that particular unit, was for the ARC, but it just, the RCAs on the back aren't outputting any signal. I connected those directly to the amplifier and tried to get those to play. It just wasn't working. And there's no ARC input on the zone 2 on the receiver, which shouldn't matter, since you're trying to output the signal from the transmitter box before it ever even gets to the receiver. But everything's just not handshaking correctly when it comes to that, but it is working. I'll kind of go over everything and show you how it's hooked up and how it's working, and we'll go on from there. Okay, we'll start with the TV on, go over to HDMI 1, which is our input. Come here to the app for the Yamaha receiver. I'm at the bar zone. Go ahead and turn that on, which is the PS4 right now. Turn on the PlayStation 4, and it will take just a moment for everything to kind of recognize each other, but it should pop up no problems. The sound will be coming out of the speakers overhead, and I should have the PS4 here in the bar area now. So that works fine. There's almost zero lag. The sound is accurate. There's no lag in the sound either. So everything's working good for this. We'll come over here to the main area and turn it on. And we can see over here on the projector that the Roku will turn on. So that's working fine. So again, I can have both of these on the same setting. We'll go ahead and turn the Roku on the bar area as well, so you can see what that looks like. Let's go back to our zone and turn on the Roku. Take a second to recognize everything. A couple more seconds to recognize everything. And there's the Roku now. So I'll show you how this is set up just real quick. I ended up only using the HDMI for the output. Like I said, these audio outs here did not work correctly for the ARC channel. I actually connected that directly to my Emotiva amplifier, and it just wasn't outputting any sound at all, even when I had this HDMI hooked up to the ARC channel, and it was outputting signal over my main speakers. So the ARC channel did work, it just did not work for all the applications it was supposed to for that specific module.
I wanted to verify that it could actually stream 4K video over the transmitter, so I streamed some 4K footage from YouTube, and everything did appear to be working properly.
So my thoughts on HDBaseT. It's a really cool concept. It's a relatively cheap way to extend your video source throughout your home over some long distances that you wouldn't normally run an HDMI cable. In my experience, it has done 1080p video and audio to the TV very well, and now with 4K, it's been doing fairly well after I got everything set up. I think the problem with HDBaseT is getting everything set up correctly and for everything to recognize the signal correctly. If everything isn't set up just perfect, the HDCP is not being recognized, just sending all of that information over a single network cable. If there's any problems at all, it's just not going to work. With this particular model that I got from Monoprice, after getting it all set up, obviously the video and audio is working pretty well. The ARC did not work properly. It worked sending it back through the HDMI to the receiver, but it did not work through the RCAs as it was advertised. So I can't say I would recommend it to anyone based on that. If you're going to be buying a product and it's supposed to work a certain way and it doesn't, you're paying for something that you aren't getting. So the other model has worked well for me. I will leave a link in the description down below to both of those. I hope my experience has helped you guys out with HDBaseT and maybe coming up with a solution to extend your video sources throughout your home. Thanks for watching Life of Bliss. Be sure to like if this helped you out, subscribe for more cool content, and I will see you guys soon.